Welcome, welcome. This is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, and I am here with Melissa. We are going to talk about some of the changes that have been occurring in her firm and what she's been noticing as she's going through the process of the Raise Your Rates formula. So, Melissa, so happy to have this conversation with you today.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here, and I'm really glad that I'm a little bit further along than when we last spoke.
Absolutely. And what I wanted to do first is just tell us a little bit about who you are in your firm.
Sure. Um, well, I'm a CPA, and I started my practice about 20 years ago after I had my son Miles. Um, I wanted to get out of the corporate world and do my own thing and be able to spend time with him. And over that 20 years, my practice has evolved, working with both tax, bookkeeping, and some advisory services, a lot of cleanup and project work. And I really love what I do. I've had a business partner and I don't have one now because she retired, so it's really evolved over the years.
And what I see when I'm working with firm owners through the Raise Your Rates formula is that there's a beginning point, there's where you're in the journey, and then where things start to really come together. And what I would like to know is what were things like at that beginning point before we started working together?
Well, I billed hourly mostly, or a flat fee that was what I thought was the right price. I never raised my rates. Like I had clients that I had for, 6 or 7 years that were at the same rate, embarrassingly, that they were when they started. And I really knew that as things changed and technology, I had to implement more technology and so forth. I really knew I needed to do something a little bit different.
So at some point you realized that the way that you were pricing your services, charging for time, even if it was based on a fixed fee, was kind of working against you as you added technology and you got better at what you did. Is that part of what was going on?
It was. You add technology and you can do things faster. And when you're billing at an hourly rate, if you're doing things faster, you're bringing a lot of value, but you're not really getting paid for the value you're bringing.
Mhm. Then did anything occur that was like that tipping point where you realized you really needed to get some help with your firm in order for it to continue moving forward?
Um, well, I actually I had been thinking about it for a few years. I've worked with other people, but no one could really explain what value pricing was. And I knew I needed to move to value pricing, but I didn't know how to do it. So
Mhm.
I had been thinking about it for a while. And then when I stumbled upon a webinar that you were doing with the Business Learning Institute, um, I sat in on it, and you knew exactly how to explain value pricing.
Well, I'm so glad that I was able to give you some that kind of opened up the opportunities for you where you could see a way to move forward. But one of the things that you did mention, and I think it's so common, but people really don't want to talk about it, is they never raise rates with their current clients, especially the oldest legacy clients. And also the decision to raise your rates and actually doing it are two different things. There's a gap between thinking about it and implementing it. So how long was it actually on your mind for before you started taking action on it?
How long was it on my mind? I think it was on my mind for years.
Hmm. And
And just again, not being confident enough to raise my rates and not knowing what to raise them to.
when you talk about the confidence part, were there certain thoughts that you were having that kind of resisted you from moving forward in that direction?
Well, I think so. I think you're always afraid of losing your clients. I mean, because your clients become, part of your life
Hmm.
and you don't want to lose them. So by changing rates, there's always that possibility that they're going to go find somebody else that'll charge a lower price.
Hmm.
So that was always kind of my stumbling point.
And from what I've seen, it's actually the most popular one is that fear of losing clients because people don't like change. You don't want to have the pushback. It's
Right.
an uncomfortable conversation to go through.
It really is. It really is. And not only like the hourly billing, but also the stuff you give away for free.
Oh gosh, you just hit on one of my favorite talking points. So I'd like to hear more about what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, typically when I was onboarding a new client or met somebody new, I would want to do like a review of what their business situation was, whether it be reviewing their tax returns, reviewing their accounting system, reviewing their processes, so that I could kind of come up with an idea of what I was going to be doing for them and how to price it.
Hmm.
But the bad thing was, is I was doing all of that for free. So I'd be spending an hour or 2 hours with someone and I wouldn't be getting paid for my time, whether it be the hourly rate or, and a lot of times the information that I told them, they would go and find somebody else, but they would take that information with them. So it was really giving away my knowledge for free.
And then it's insulting when they move on.
Yes, it's very insulting. It's very insulting. It's a lot of times business owners are in different places as well. If they're just starting out, I don't think they really realize what the cost of things are
Mhm.
in running a business when it comes to, accounting, consulting, professional development, all of those type of things. So you really need to, they really need to have the right mindset in order to bring on a team of professionals.
And I think the fact that you were doing a business review complimentary was because you were client-centered, customer-oriented. But how did you go ahead and actually fix that if you realized that you didn't want to give it away for free any longer? What did you do differently?
Well, what I did differently is I started charging a flat rate based on what the value was I was bringing to the client for the initial consultation. I mean, the first 15 minutes on the phone, we talk, we see if we're a good fit, and then we set our next meeting. And the next meeting is really the kind of like the deep dive into how their business runs, what their numbers are, what some of their pain points are in their business and,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. So by having the time to sit down and talk to them and then go in and analyze the information, whether it be through their accounting system or their tax returns, I was able to come up with a better way to provide value to them because
Mm-hmm.
I know their situation and I was getting paid for looking at it that way and doing the analysis on their business.
Then something you were previously giving away for free, you're now getting paid for, which means you created a new stream of revenue for your firm.
Right.
Have you noticed a difference in the people that are saying yes to the paid review now?
Um, it's was surprisingly easy to do that. which
Mhm.
which really is again, it's kind of like a light bulb goes on and it's like, well, why haven't I been doing this? Um, People are receptive.
Mhm.
You give them a price and you say, this is what we're going to do, and this is what I'm gonna provide back to you. Like, I'm going to provide feedback to what I think you need, and where there are challenges in your business from a financial standpoint.
Mhm.
And they're pretty receptive. I was kind of surprised.
And the fact that you finally put this in place, I want to acknowledge that because I know the first time you start asking for money for something you gave away for free is not a very easy thing.
No, it's very uncomfortable. But I think once you do it once or twice, you realize, okay, that's people expect that.
Mhm.
And I think they respect you more for it.
And just because you know that I like numbers a little bit and want to inspire someone that's listening to us, on average, what are you charging for these business reviews that used to be for free?
Um, Depending on the size of the business, anywhere between $500 and $1,500. And it's usually only a few hours of
Mhm.
time
Mhm.
and investment of my time and investment of their time and me working alone a little bit. So it's definitely worked out very nicely.
Absolutely. So I appreciate you sharing numbers because I'm hoping to inspire someone else. And when we were first talking about how I might be able to help you and your firm with the pricing and the onboarding, were there any obstacles that you might have had with moving forward with us working together?
Well, I knew I needed it. And it was like I was in that webinar for a reason, like it was meant to be. When I saw you and saw you talking about how to value your business and your time
Mhm.
when you offer services. And I guess it's an investment. It's an investment of time working with you, and it's a monetary investment too. But I can tell you, and you said to me, you'll make it back. I can tell you I did make it back. And I even signed up for the second year because I know that this works. And it's just been kind of life-changing.
And so with life changing, that makes me very happy hearing that because I want you to have a business that raises your quality of life instead of taken from it. Any specific way that you notice that your life has changed because of it? Like what's different?
I think I managed my time a little bit better. I
Mhm.
think I allowed time to look at my business and focus on my business and not just be in my business, which I think has been very valuable. I allocate like a day a week to kind of do the things that will help my business progress to the next step. Um, whether it be um, doing analysis on my business as I do with my clients, or whether it be, networking or, doing something that's going to help my business improve.
Then part of what I'm hearing is you now have the capacity to not just work in your business serving your clients, but you also have carved out dedicated time to work on your business, the business development, and maybe larger project work that will lead to something in the future.
Yes. And I've given myself permission. And I think that in working with you, it's allowed me to give myself permission to do that
Mm-hmm.
and get out of my head of what everything I need to do to to get things out the door and
Mm-hmm.
service clients. So I think I service clients better too.
And that goes kind of into strategy now. Are there any maybe strategies you've put in place in order to increase your revenues, but find that maybe your workload is lightened up as well?
Well, sure. So I do have a few people on staff that do the accounting for some of my clients. So I've learned to delegate better, which
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I was not very good at, and I was a little bit of a control freak. So I do have other people that are working on things. So I find that the flow of work is much better. Um, I've implemented packages. So again, going from hourly to a package allows me to identify what the client needs and giving them options. So sometimes a client just needs, it's a new business and they really just need to put themselves together and do some compliance work,
Mm-hmm.
making sure their books are in order, making sure that they have the information for a tax return, making sure they're making estimated payments and so forth. So those type of things. And then there's businesses that are in the form of a growth, like they're growing. So
Mm-hmm.
they need something a little bit more than just the regular bookkeeping compliance kind of stuff. They need somebody to look at, do they have a budget? Do they do cash flow management? Do they do forecasting through the year to change their budget and see where they're coming out at the end of the year or even in the future months beyond the year. Um, so again, so there's a price for one level of service and there's a price for the second. And then with the third level of service, which again is a little bit higher price, they get access to me pretty regularly, like meetings,
Mm-hmm.
emails, phone calls, Zoom meetings, um, research, that type of thing. So
Well,
that has made a huge difference.
right. It sounds like now not everybody gets the equal type of service. Now it's
Right.
still very service oriented, but they've identified where they fit best as far as how you can help them meet their needs.
Right, right. And they have also identified what they can afford to spend on
Mhm.
the services. And I think that's worked out very well because it's not open-ended then. It's very, this is what we're going to do, and this is what it's going to cost on a monthly basis. So the cash flow has improved.
Mhm. And and so that's great because you also mentioned that you're working less hours. So a lot of times when people think they're working less hours, the bank account's going to take a hit, but that hasn't necessarily occurred for you.
No, I think the clients that I have and how I've implemented things, I get more value out of individual clients. Like the value of the client is more to the firm than it had been previously.
Okay, so one of the things that you have noticed, and I know we were on a group call earlier today, we were talking about the lifetime value of a client, and what you've seen is that's been a significant increase from where you were about a year ago when we first started working together.
Yes, yes, it is. Um, and what I find is that people are looking for that type of value. I mean, they're looking for their business to have somebody who can help them.
Mm-hmm.
So they see the value in that and they become more valuable to our firm as well. So it's kind of like a win-win.
It is a win-win. One of the things that you mentioned when you were talking about packages is that you're no longer charging for your time. Do you have a specific process in how you're analyzing things and maybe coming up with a price for someone who wants to engage your firm services?
Well, I mean, a lot of times, it depends on the level of business. Now, I look at businesses that have levels of revenue. So when someone is starting a business is at a certain revenue point, and I don't know if you want me to say dollars or not, or
If
disclose that, but
you're more than welcome to share as much as you want. It's up to you.
so like if a business is in revenue 500,000 or less, I'll assess what they need different than if a business was like over $1 million to $5 million,
Mhm.
because what they need is a little bit more detailed and extensive than maybe somebody that's just starting their business and growing, and their revenue is really just a sole person kind of, that's what they're making. And
Mhm.
so working with each of them differently, I can look at each of them and say, okay, this is what this person's going to need just based on the types of services we offer, and then price accordingly,
Mhm.
and then get prepaid for the price for what I price.
Now, okay, so is the prepayment a change in what you were doing also?
Oh, yes, yes. So the
Mm-hmm.
prepayment is I've always billed hourly after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, that can be a challenge too, because you've delivered the value and then the money has to come. So,
Yes.
but that, I mean, that's a traditional way that accountants had always done it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different way of doing things.
Mm-hmm. And because you changed to prepayment instead of invoicing and getting paid after the fact, anything that you've noticed as a result of that change?
Well, I don't have to bill as much. What I did previously was, my assistant would do the bills on a monthly basis, and now it's automated. So
Mm-hmm.
now at, a certain day in the month that I started the contract with that person, the money comes in and the
Mm-hmm.
services are delivered throughout the month. So usually, we'll sit down with clients and go over their financial statements at the end of the month. But we've done all the work ahead of time so that we can sit down and go through them and and guide them through their numbers, because not every business owner understands their numbers.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. Probably a higher majority than anybody wants to admit about that.
Yes.
So you went from manual to automated payments, invoice and a prepayment. My guess is that it probably saved a couple hours a week or even a month, shifting how you get paid for your services.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I used to have to like log my hours, like clock in when I was working on one client and clock out when I stopped. And
Mhm.
so there was a lot of time throughout the month that I was spending, and then having to bill it all and explain it all to somebody who was doing the billing. It was probably more than a few hours.
I was being generous.
Yes.
But it does open up time for you to maybe serve a client, work on business development, or do something else.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
And one of the things that you talked about also was the value of a client has increased over time. What have you been doing to actually implement a raise in your prices?
Well, I've sent out letters to my clients kind of saying that we're changing our business model and this is how we're going to do this going forward and that our rates are increasing. And then I'll have a meeting with them and we'll talk about it. Um, Most of the implementation of the raised rates, though, I can say the increased rates are with new clients because it's much easier to work with newer clients and implement a package or a rate change than it is with existing clients. But I have done it with existing clients as well.
And with the existing clients you've been gradually starting to do this with, what's been your experience so far?
Um, Nobody has come back and said, well, like, why is it this the price? I mean, I can honestly say I'm still doing some hourly billing. I haven't gotten rid of that completely. But hopefully within the next couple months, I will have gotten rid of that. Um,
Mm-hmm. You're
and
working very hard on it. I want to acknowledge that.
thank you. It's been a journey. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely been a journey. And I know that the groups that you do on a monthly basis, not only do we do personal coaching sessions, but we do group meetings. There's so much value in those because, like you said, everybody's in a different place um, before, and we can kind of share our experiences. I've learned a lot about different technology things that are out there that I didn't know about that I can implement to make my life easier. Um, but I think we share a wealth of knowledge and experience.
And I think that there's something about having those real conversations with your peers that you wouldn't normally have.
Right,
Uh, you can lean into each other and you know that they're going to have your best interest at heart.
right, right. Because whether they're just starting or whether they've been there for a
Mhm.
while, everybody's been through this process that we work in working with you. And so we all know where we all know what it's like.
Mhm, mhm. And one of the things is I'm a fan of systems. Systems give you freedom.
Mhm.
So where are you at as far as, or what are you doing to fine tune your system so that you do continue to grow your revenues?
Well, so one of the things I implemented is a proposal system, which has
Mhm.
been great. I've listed all my services in the system and I can pick and choose what I'm sending out to my clients. And it's a whole package. It's a presentation of, what our firm does, what are the options that they can choose from, what is the pricing for those options, what are the add-on services if they need add-on services, and it's all through it systematized, whereas before I hated doing proposal. I'd have to sit here and write up a proposal and remember what I did, cut and paste from other proposals, and I don't have to do that anymore. So that has made that process a lot more
Mhm.
streamlined. um
Because
and the
now
billing.
packages, it sounds like you can just take the scope and plug it right into the proposal system and maybe even create templates.
Yes, exactly. And I know that there are a lot of templated letters and so forth that we can send out, and so we're not creating letters new, that you've provided, which have been very helpful. Kind of walking us through how to raise our rates and what to say to the client and so forth. So that's been really helpful.
And as you're going through this, I realize because we all go through the process of raising our fees periodically, and it's not like you make the decision today and you implement tomorrow. You have to go through a process internally before
Mhm.
you're ready to really make that, put it into action. So were there any hurdles that you found you needed to work through in order to start putting this into play and seeing the results?
Well, I mean, it's a change. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
change in the way you do things. So from a hurdle standpoint, it's getting comfortable with the change. Because if you're not comfortable, it's hard to make the change if you can't get comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that hesitation that's always there. But as I've become more comfortable with it, it's easier to do. So I would say that the hurdle was being comfortable with the change
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to make the change.
And my guess is in the beginning you weren't very comfortable, but you did it anyway.
Yeah, I kind of did.
And that's true for me in the beginning when I'm doing something new also. We're all in the same place with that. And now that you have insights as to how to value price your services, have you seen any difference in your business, which you've touched on? But what about in your personal life, like vacation or something you've always wanted to do that you never could do before, and now you feel that it's possible?
Well, it's interesting because I'm taking a vacation at the end of September, which I would never do before, um, because there's always tax deadlines for extensions. But I've kind of taken control of that situation and told my clients, if you don't have your information, I can't do your tax return because I'm not doing them after mid-September. So they have to be done because I'm going on vacation and I'm going to enjoy vacation. I would never have done that before.
That's
So,
amazing. I just want to really acknowledge that's a big step.
it really is because I mean, I always let the deadlines control my life, and now I'm
Mhm.
not letting the deadlines control my life. And I'm pushing back to my clients to say, you maybe I've been tolerant of this for a really long time, but I'm really going on vacation and you need to get me your stuff by this day if you
Mhm.
expect to have it done.
Very nice. I'm happy for you. So, anything else you feel that maybe we haven't touched on that you want to mention?
Um, I just really I can't stress enough the group sessions have been great. The strategy sessions have been great. Um, it's nice to be with like-minded people growing businesses together.
And Melissa, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, well, you can contact me via email or through our website. Our website is milesfinancialmgt.com. And my email is the same with Melissa at milesfinancialmgt.com.
I so appreciate the fact that I get to be part of your inner circle, being able to be a partner in the journey that you've been taking your firm through. And thank you so much for this conversation, Melissa.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. And thank you for your continuation and working with me. I'm really excited about the coming year.
Me too. I'm on a mission. So this is Lauren Fogelman with Business Success Solution, showing firm owners how to double their income working half the time.